The self-righteous will try to control you with fear. And what I mean by self-righteous, I mean the type of people that think they can do no wrong. They know everything that's right. They know what you're doing wrong. They know how you can fix it. They just have this air about them like they're all knowing, they're all being, and what they say is essentially the will of God. What they say is the word of God, and they are just like him, right? Like those are the type of people that I'm speaking about, the self-righteous. And these people will always try to confuse and control the main character through tactics of fear. They will always use and implement fear as a strategy to control the main character because they know they really, they can't control the main character at all. They can't. Nobody can control the main character. That is something that really is a gift. And it is something that a lot of people, it makes them upset. I remember one time I was dating someone and him, we were having a conversation about something, and the people around him would always say, you can make him do this, you can make him do that. And after all that, the dust settled, I realized the reason why I could make him do something or not do something was because I was someone who couldn't be moved regardless of anything. So a lot of times the main character, because she is so confident and stern within herself, people will flock to her and follow her just for that reason specifically. When you meet someone who's very sure of themselves, they're sure of their path, they're sure of their direction, it gives you a compelling energy to want to follow and be around them. And you're not even trying to do anything. I was friends with someone, and there were a couple of people mad at me because, and I remember hearing this, like, you have all the power. And I was thinking, like, I'm just being me. I'm doing my life. I'm living my life and just not really being engaged into this situation. And how are you guys getting upset with me because you see that I have a perceived power? And the truth is I did. But the power is I have control of myself. The true power is that I don't really care. And this is my thing. I have never really cared what people will say. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care how sure you are or how right you think you are. If I have my mind set up on something, it's going to go down the way I want it to, because that is my right. That is the authority I have over myself and my life. And when I did not follow that, when I let people, essentially drive the car that I was driving in, or I just put myself in the passenger seat, that's when things always went left for me, because I didn't rely on myself. I didn't put the emphasis on, okay, shush everything down, quiet the noise. What do you want to do? How do you see this situation? How do you want to handle this? When you're able to do that, and you do that confidently and without the noise of others, you are an extremely powerful diamond. You are an extremely powerful person. I remember when I was a little girl, I was talking to my dad, and I was telling him, because I've always had this very bold, independent mindset. I know how to receive, and I know how to be taken care of and provided for, right? That is something that I've always been able to just be comfortable in. Even right now in my adult age, I do that effortlessly, but I've always had the mindset of independence, in the sense of I can always think for myself. At any given moment, if this no longer serves me, I can get up and do what I need to do, what I want to do, when I want to do it. That's what I mean by I've always had this independent mindset. I've always had the mindset of, like, it's not necessarily I don't need a man mindset, because it's not in a bitter type of way, but it's in I don't need anybody type of mindset. And I'm talking about man or woman, friendship, job, school, anything. I have always had the mindset of I don't need this. I don't need you. I do not care. I talked about this before on this channel a couple of times, where I am a Scorpio. And one thing about us, we live for revamping ourselves and rebirths and transformations. We love that. There's a running joke, and it's like, you can never destroy a Scorpio, because the only one that could destroy a Scorpio is a Scorpio. And we don't even destroy ourselves. We will take a step back. we'll kind of bury ourselves in the sand, we'll revamp ourselves, and then we come out new and emerge. You know, the most evolved version of a Scorpio is the phoenix, and that is the sign of rising from the ashes. That is a sign of rebirth. That's a sign of transformation. So that's what I've always been able to do. So like I said, I've always had the mindset of, you know what, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't even need you. And push come to shove, I will go into a corner by myself, burn all the old, come back brand new, right? So I was having this conversation with my father, and I was a little girl, and he said to me, he was like, you know, but no man is an island. And I want you to put a note in that, right? He told me no man is an island. So throughout life, you know, I was like, okay, well, maybe I guess I shouldn't try to just do everything by myself. I shouldn't have this mindset. And the moment that I lost the mindset that I had naturally in me, I don't care, I will do it by myself, I don't need this, and I took on the mindset of someone else, the no man is an island mindset, I started having the worst time in life. I entered into the worst relationship of my life, the worst friendships. I could not keep a job. It was just, everything went downward spiraling. And it wasn't until I got rid of that relationship and I made a video talking about reparenting yourself. And I might need to revisit that topic. Comment down below if you want a part 2 of the reparenting yourself, because I will do that in a way that I don't think I've heard spoken about before. But once I let go of that relationship and I started to look at the people who were giving me advice and, you know, really reassess the advice I got from my father. And I was realizing this does not serve me, you know, and this isn't to talk, you know, this isn't to say that, you know, you shouldn't really trust the advice of your parents or your family or friends. But listen, we talk about this on the channel all the time, how a lot of times the worst advice, the people that try to send you down the wrong path, the people that, you know, that you think are trying to help you, in all actuality, it's hurting you, can be from the source of your parents or from the source of your family or from a sibling or a cousin. So once I got rid of the mindset that I received from my father, and I went back to my original mindset of, you know what, I don't need this, I can do this all by myself. It was as if once I put myself back into the energy, I didn't have to do it all by myself. Once again, I met someone new, and this person, I waits on me hand and foot. You know, I right now, you guys know, I live a life that I'm happy to be living. I live a life I'm happy to be living because I am living in the mindset that is my own. And it wasn't just the advice that I got from my father. It was, you know, I talked about this before. I had a parental mother figure, a stepmother. I remember she would pray, right? She's very religious. And one of her prayers that she would say for me, right? And hear about how weird this is. She would say, God, squeeze her until she is uncomfortable. What type of prayer is that to say over somebody? Think about that. What type of prayer is that to say over someone? You want them to be in a place where they are uncomfortable in life. That is not someone that you should be listening to or taking advice from. Mind you, this is just me and my story, right? But it wasn't until and it was like a domino effect. Once I got rid of the relationship with my partner, then I was able to assess the relationship with my parents. Then I was able to assess the relationship with my friends. It was like a domino effect. I was able to assess everything. And I'm realizing the reason why I'm living the way I'm living is because of self-righteous people and their ideologies that they're spewing onto me. And I'm accepting it, thinking like, okay, well, this is good. Or I should follow them because you should obey your parents. And I should do this because you should obey your partner. And, and it's just like, I say this was the beginning of the video. Self-righteous people will try to control you through fear. All of these conversations and all of these ideologies and all of these mindsets I got from the people that were the closest to me were always out of fear. Oh, well, you should think like this because you don't ever want to experience this, or you should do this because you don't ever want this to happen. I want you to look at this in your own life. See where you have taken advice from someone. You have taken the leadership of someone. You have listened to the opinions that are not even truly aligned with how you really think or feel. And where has that gotten you? And you will see that more times than not, there's an underlying energy of fear. Because fear is, people say fear is a motivator. Fear is one of the greatest tactics to control someone. Don't do this because this can happen. Don't say this because this can happen. And the reality of it is, once you remove the fear aspect of dealing with someone, you realize they are not any more special than you. And then you start to assess it even further and you realize you are actually more special than them. And the reason why they have tried to control you is because they fear you will wake up and realize that. Now, you as the main character, you as a diamond, let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to control someone out of fear? And I guarantee you the answer is no. I guarantee you the answer is no. If you are a member of this channel, you subscribe to this channel, and you come back to this content regularly, that says something about you. You are a diamond and you are the main character. And you do not try to control people out of fear. But people will do that to you. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. I love you, diamonds, and I will talk to you soon.